Every little moment that you have in life counts. That's such a deep question. What's freedom for me? My definition of freedom is
It is awesome at the highs, but there's a lot of fucking lows that a lot of people don't talk about. Life's a video game, man. I really think I always compare life to a video game because there's... All right, welcome everybody. We're back on our first podcast of our show here, and we got our guest, a good friend and a client of mine, Mr. Jay Austin. Welcome, my man.
What is up, Big Justin? How are we doing today?
Good, brother. I appreciate you for taking some time out of your schedule to hop on here, man. We were talking before, and I feel like, we're just going to get on here kind of free flow and just drop bombs because like that's what we gotta deliver for the people,
Yeah, of course. No, it's a very humbling. I'm truthfully humbled that you reached out to me, man, and wanted me to hop on. I know that a lot of brothers in the space right now are really trying to put their word out there on the internet. And dude, you've done nothing but like help me and my business out. You're a little bit older than me too, so I have like a certain number of people on my list of entrepreneurs that I follow that I strive to be like, if that makes sense. And you're on that list.
Hey.
Even though like it's this crazy entrepreneurship journey, but the way that you just conduct yourself, every single meeting that I've been on with you, bro, every single one of our encounters that we've had, like you're a true dude. You work hard and nothing but respect. So
well, dude, I appreciate that. You and roles reversed. I feel the same way about you, man. And like I think that's what it kind of comes down to, is what we were talking about before we started hitting the record button on here, is like, it's just in business, you like see the type of people that they've been through it, and that's something that you can respect, and you figure out a way to learn from everybody like that. And I'd be curious to hear on your end, man, because business is portrayed as this thing where it's just going to be a straight up line, revenue. But like a lot of people don't see the inside of what it actually takes to grow a business, managing teams, managing cash flow, having those hard conversations, doing the shit you don't want to do. And I'd be curious to hear on your end, what are some of those things that like you think really shape a business owner, and even maybe tie it into like some stuff in your past that's kind of like, even failures that gotten you to where you're at now?
Yeah. So first and foremost, if you're either an athlete or, I mean, I see it within athletes the most, honestly, like someone that's dedicated a lot of their life to becoming better at a skill. It's huge. Right. And I grew up an athlete. I played Division I football. So I started off as a little guy, worked my way up to playing D1 ball in Texas. And all the life lessons I learned about having to put in the work when nobody else is looking, that's where the truth growth happens. Like if you're really trying to achieve something in life, and if you're trying to change your life, what you need to do is like, you got to put in the work, man, when nobody's watching. It's just that simple. Like, it just doesn't come like that. Like all the work, and this as a business owner, there's so many 2, 3, 4 a.m. nights where you're up building your funnel, or where you're up, like checking on your ads and like trying to think of different ad copy, or you're thinking about how you're going to like fix this system. Maybe a problem came up into your life or your business that you're like always looking to solve, if that makes sense. So I know I mentioned like being an athlete, but the main things that really help business owners succeed is first and foremost, believing in yourself. Like you have to believe in yourself. You have to believe in yourself, number one. Like that goal, that dream you have as an individual, you have to believe in it. You have to be willing to go to the extent of pushing yourself as far as you've ever been pushed before to obtain this life. Because that's ultimately the purpose of business, is to get into the life, or like to achieve the freedom, or to go on the wealth journey. So I would just say believing in yourself, man. Believing in yourself, discipline. You got to be disciplined, and then just being very well organized, I'd say.
Yeah, and I think like I really like your analogy with kind of pushing this towards more of like almost like I truly believe like people that are in fitness and they're like have been through sports are the ones that really get to the next level with this. And granted, there are a lot of people that don't do that do really well. I'm not saying that, but I think that's a big component where you kind of it's a good comparison of comparing somebody that's grown up as an athlete, because like you said, you put in the work when no one's noticing, right? Like I played basketball. That was my whole thing as I grew up. And I remember, like you said, there was those nights I was out till 3 a.m. just shooting basketball. Like my dad even had to come down as a kid and like put up a light down at the basketball court because it was 3 a.m. I couldn't see. And like the neighbors thought we were crazy, but it was like, I was just so dedicated to reach that next level. And like, for me, I was always a competitive person. I wanted to beat everybody in my class. And, basketball was a big aspect of my life. But I think once I kind of shut that out, there was like, okay, well, I went to college, I did my college thing, partied a little bit, but after that, I was like, I got to have that competitiveness again. And I think that's where business comes in. It's like why a lot of athletes go the business route is because it's like your brain is triggered that you have to do something to hit the next level. And it's like you're just that grind mode. It's just like instilled in us.
Once you get good at it, you make it look easy. So once you get good at something, to others, it looks easy, but to you, you have like all the blood, sweat, and tears that went into something. So that's why everybody's always trying to try something new, because I see Justin crushing it with business on, and I'm scrolling through my social media, and dude, this guy got a new Mercedes. This guy got this, he got that. Oh, I'm going to just start a business overnight too. When the reality of it is, dude, your entire life has led to this moment. Like every single thing that you've been through as an individual has led to this moment where you're at right now, even on this meeting with me right here.
Yeah.
Like me on your meeting, every little moment that you have in life counts. It's like all this is going to stack up. Like you're building the foundation of your future, of your life, of your wealth, of everything. And I think that obviously you as a business owner and myself as a business owner, we're really good at understanding that. Like, yo, what I do today matters what's going to happen in the next 6 months. Like the decisions I make today in my business is going to determine like how my family is doing in the next 6 months.
Compound effect.
That's it, bro. But I definitely believe that there's like a lot of challenges that a lot of business owners face, like psychological challenges. If I've been way overcommitted in my business. I don't know if you've can relate to that. Like I know that
way
you got
too much.
You got this, you got that. But occasionally what happens sometimes, man, is we just get way too committed to the process and just chasing this fulfillment.
Yeah.
Chasing the fulfillment within business, and you're well accomplished. Like I know for a fact that within your businesses that you have crossed the 7-figure mark. Same thing with me, So as a 7-figure entrepreneur, to be as somebody that's been able to say that, hey, I've built a $1 million business, it's just crazy looking back at it, like how much you actually put in to make that happen.
Man, it's crazy to even think about that, because like for me, like sometimes I look back. And again, it's like that quote saying like, only look back to see how far you've really come. Right. And like, I look back for me, I remember when I started, I had $40 in my name. I was living in this house my parents were renovating. And I remember writing on my vision board, I was like, $100,000. And looking back, it's like, once you cross those lines, it's funny to like kind of look back and be like, oh, well, $100,000 is like, doesn't really do much nowadays, right? But like once you hit those milestones, it's like, okay, well, you cross 7 figures, but you're still like not fulfilled, because I know I can relate 100% with what you're saying. It's like, it's hard to get fulfilled in this business model because there's always another level. You always see somebody online that's always leveling up and always at the next level than you. But I think sometimes it's like, you got to just take a step back and just realize, like you said, it's like, you got to see how far you've actually come.
Dude, that's one of the hardest things. And I actually think that, because it's kind of ironic because we're talking about looking backwards, which is like you're looking into the past. We're supposed to be in the moment, but in order to enjoy the moment, you kind of have to look back at the past and be like, wow, I've came so far. Like you really have to, like, in order to really enjoy where you're at right now in life, you have to be able to go back into the past and see how far you've come.
You do. That's facts,
you
man.
have to look at it through that lens. You have to look at it through that lens. If you are thinking about like all the traumatic stuff that's happened or this X, Y, and Z, terrible for your mind, terrible for your soul. But if you actually appreciate your journey, it's just going to push you to keep going. I would love to, I mean, I know that this is kind of like a free float thing, but I know that a lot of people that obviously would be interested in learning from guys like ourselves, or a lot of people that I would just say like our audience that we're looking to help are people that either want to get in business or make money online. So and I have some
Let's run it up.
Do you have any sort of advice for anybody based off of your journey for online entrepreneurship?
That's a great question, man. I think it goes back to kind of like what we were talking about, is just the consistency side of things. Is like, you've got to find a vehicle. You got to know where you want to go, but you got to find that vehicle that's going to get you there. And then you just have to be super consistent with it. And a lot of people kind of struggle with that I've seen, because I've coached hundreds of entrepreneurs at this point in the online space. And the biggest thing is just the idea of, if something doesn't work right away, let me just shift gears and try something different. But in reality, it's the opposite of that, where a lot of people get it twisted. Is you just have to stay committed to it. And once you find that vehicle, you put in the work, you build out the systems, you find the right processes, you build the company, and then you slowly remove yourself so that you can eventually get more of that what everyone's chasing is more of like that freedom aspect, which I think there's a big thing with that, because I think, you know, freedom is a loaded question, man, because like for me, freedom is just doing what I love every day. I work a lot and I love it. And that's freedom for me. What's freedom for you?
Dude, freedom for me, as weird as it sounds, that's such a deep question. What's freedom for me? My definition of freedom is being able to do what I want to do when I want to do it. So like in my mind, what I'm working towards is being able to do anything that I want to do whenever I want to do it, with no financial constraints, with no political constraints, with no health constraints, with no relationship constraints. Like
Mm-hmm.
a free life is where your health is on point, your wealth is on point, and then everything else is taken care of. You got the girl, you know, you got the car, you're close with God or with like your spiritual connection. That like I think that that's like the purpose of life, is like obtaining these. Like it's kind of like Thanos, right? Like the purpose of your life and the purpose of my life, that I have this philosophy, is like I'm going out and I'm trying to get the stones, and I'm trying to put them all in my gauntlet, so at the end of life I could say boom, I lived a complete life, if that makes sense.
Yeah, life's a video game, man. I
Yeah.
really think I always compare life to a video game because there's always another level. And going like kind of what we were talking about is like you always learn something, whether it's good or bad. And a lot of people have that as a misconception of like, "Oh, I'm going to go out there and if shit doesn't work, man, it's done. I'm over with." And it's like looking back, at least for me, and I'm sure probably for you too, it's like some of the hardest shit you went through was at the time terrible, but one of the biggest things to get you to where you're at now. A lot of people don't see that, man.
It blows my mind that during your worst days, and we don't like, we're very sensitive individuals, like and beings, so like we have all this sensory that comes towards us, like our cell phones, our five senses, right? So our five senses are constantly, we always have like input coming in to our five senses, just like when you plug in a microphone, you have an input, right? Input audio. So we're constantly getting hit with our senses, and like when we put our senses through those bad times, like physically you go through like a really challenging thing, mentally you go through a really challenging thing, all that stuff, it's crazy that like subconsciously and in the background, like that's what's building you up to be the best version of yourself.
It's facts, bro. I wanted to kind of shift it a little bit and ask you, because you're really big into sales, right? Like
Yeah.
your main offer is is it teaching
So,
people sales? Like
yeah,
funny.
so yeah,
Okay.
exactly. So I originally started off with sales. So that's kind of like the main thing. That's my go-to, and it worked for me. So
Yeah. I mean, dude, I always, whenever I'm in a rut or something, like whenever shit's not working, what I always write down is sales cures all. And that's what I told you before this call. It's like, yeah, I'm a full book. I'm an open book about things, man. Like our business, we hit like 2 months ago, we hit like our highest high that we've had in a while. And then, you know, we tried scaling and some things broke. Right. So like things break, I'm going back in the business. I'm trying to figure it out. So like, you know, right after this call, I got a sales call and it's like, dude, you got 120 clients in your group right now. Why are you taking sales calls? You got 2 sales reps. It's like, because I want to make sure that this shit works. Like I'm willing to go in the trenches.
yes.
A lot of people don't think that. And I know you as sales, and that's why I want to talk to you about like how, like, obviously sales is important, but like, let's talk about that a little bit. Like, what is it with sales that just like, why does everyone need to be in sales and have this shit locked in?
In society, you're either a producer or a consumer, and producers are the guys that make the money. Okay, so there's this huge gap. So when we're talking about the 1%, like high income earners, X, Y, and Z, there's factual data out there. I don't like have it tangibly, but I do know that if you're on the producing side of life, like if you are a producer, you are making more money and you have like a better, wealthier lifestyle than somebody that's a consumer. And we're all bred consumers, because as soon as we come out of our mom's womb, we're consuming milk off of our mom, right? So we're like bred, we're literally born to be consumers, but you have to like educate yourself and understand that obviously being a producer is going to be the fastest way to make money and make a lot of money. But the thing about it is when it comes to production or producing something, a lot of people don't know how to produce something themselves. So sales is the easiest way to learn how to produce, right? Produce like income, like revenue, generate revenue without having your own, like your own system, you know, without being
Mhm.
your own entity of production, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. What's because so like the way I learned sales was I was in college and I took on the sales position as a sales rep for this print and digital marketing agency. It was like when print was big.
Yeah.
And for me, I learned how to sell print ads. And then once digital came around, I was like, this is an absolute game changer. long story short, I quit and started my own company because like digital is the next wave with this. But like for a lot of people out there that don't, most people suck at sales. Let me just call it out like that. Most people are terrible at sales. What's a good way that people can get up to speed as fast as possible?
Okay, so the secret to sales is caring about the other person that's across from you. Like that's all it really comes down to. Like the secret behind sales is actually genuinely caring about the other person and helping them. So you have two choices in life. You're either the individual that is selfish and you only want to see yourself win. And this is where team sports comes into play, right? Because you can't win a Super Bowl by yourself. You need the entire team. You need offense and defense and coordinators and the injury team. You need everybody in order to win that freaking Super Bowl, right? And we're talking about winning a Super Bowl. Let's talk about even winning wars, like on the top end of things.
Yeah.
It's the individual mindset of like, oh, me. It might make you short-term money or like you might get short-term success. But the real secret is once you are able to like offer your time, your energy, all that stuff to other people within sales, dude, that's like the secret. That is the real secret behind sales is like actually genuinely caring about the other person across from you in whatever transaction you're dealing with. Because you're naturally going to ask the right questions. There is no script you can follow. In sales, there is no script. It's all about caring about the other person and hearing them out.
Well, I think sales is more of like an art because like in art, it comes from like your deeper passion, right? And like that energy is contributed onto like the paintings like you have behind you. And same thing with sales is like when you have that compassion and that you really want to help the other person out on the end, they're going to feel it and you're going to ask the right questions, like you said. And like, that's what actually I think comes with sales rather than just selling like a product, selling features and all this. Like that's just all secondary. What really matters is like, what's the person going to achieve? Like, what's their outcome? How are you going to help them out? And that's where a lot of people that, you know, like I mentioned, we have over, I think it's 120, 130 people in AIA right now. And like, one of the biggest things is like, we get ads up with people right away. But one of the biggest things is like, just people not being able to close on the back end that we have to continue to help with that. And it's like one of those things where, you know, you can give them all the scripts, you can give them all the trainings in the world. But like you said yourself, man, is like, if you don't genuinely want to help somebody out and they can't feel that, it's going to be the hardest thing in the world to close.
Yeah. We got to remember one thing about sales. It's a skill. Skills take time to develop. So a lot of people just want to make all this crazy money in sales and do this and do that. But you have to understand, like, in order to become a good poker player, you have to play like a lot of poker. Like you don't just wake up and same thing with football, same thing with any sort of sports. If you're trying to do anything at the elite level, like if you're trying to be legendary elite, it's all in the fundamentals and like the skills. So you got to put time into the skills. You got to put time into, you know, making the phone calls. You got to put time into connecting with, you got to take time to think about the journey. Like you actually have to think about like, okay, so first and foremost, what is like selling? And then once you master that, and once you're around all your boys and now you're talking to your boys, dude, how's your business going? That's one of the very first things. Whenever I try to connect with at least our network of business guys, I always like, dude, how's the business going? How's the business? How's the business? Yeah. How's the business? Because like I'm trying to connect with them. Yeah, it's crazy, bro. Sales is just one of those things. If you are not in sales, like if you're watching this and you are not in sales, there's a recession coming and you need to get into sales ASAP. Like there are
you learn how to sell. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like once you have those skill sets, you're set, dude. And that's why like everyone's freaking out. It's like, oh, it's recession, all this stuff. And like people ask me, are you worried? I'm like, no, because I've invested hundreds of thousands of dollars into skill sets. I know regardless of whatever president we have or whatever crazy shit's going on, like somehow, some way I'll be fine because it's the skill sets that are built up and the consistency, the reps, as you were talking about, that gets you there to have predictable results in whatever you do. Because at the end of the day, like the more skills you have, it's kind of like what you said. It's like a video game. You're collecting these gems. It's like a skill set. Eventually you just have them all. And it's like, all right, well, I know exactly what to do.
Yeah. Sales is one of those things where if you really commit yourself, it will make you free.
I want to ask you a little bit about going on with sales a little bit more, like a management side of things, because you manage sales reps inside your company for your agency, correct?
So I have been solely responsible for 4 sales systems that 7-figure sales systems. Oh, an 8-figure sales system too. Like that I was either the sales director for, or I was the CEO within the business.
Let's talk about that a little bit, because I got some questions that I see a lot with my clients. And I think with my audience, it would probably help a lot, because one of the biggest things I see is like when people take off of the sales responsibility and they're like, all right, I've taken all these sales calls, you know, I've recorded everything. I'm going in CEO mode to like work on some other stuff. What is it like? a lot of times I see with our clients is they bring on sales reps that aren't the best fit for them. And like, they're either lazy, they're not setting their own appointments. They're just, what are some common red flags that you see with sales reps that aren't made for an organization?
The very first thing is Mr. Know-it-all. Yo, if there is no such thing as a know-it-all at sales. I still learn new stuff every single day with sales. As crazy as it sounds. Like, I've produced millions of dollars in sales online, solely responsible, not only closed, but built the systems behind it. Some of that money got deposited into my business account, and I paid myself for tax reasons, obviously, differently. If you're like watching this, you're the IRS or whatever, right? um, but but if you walk through life like you know everything, you're holding yourself back from so much information, and you're literally holding yourself back from a whole separate life, even financially. So that's literally the number one red flag, is when somebody onboards into a business and they're the guy that, hey man, well, I've managed 16 sales teams, I've done this, I've done that, like I'm like, that's not what I'm really looking for. I'm looking for the dude that, hey man, this is my first time doing something like this. And I've played 15 years of football. And my mom, she has cancer. This is one of the toughest things I've been through, but I've learned all this information. I did my research on you too. I love your guys' offer. The number one thing, at least when it comes to like my community that I consult, is I actually teach them to do background research before interviewing with any business. Okay. So like, for instance, if I was to bring somebody into your business, I'm like, hey, yo, do research on Justin, go through his social, look at articles, do X, Y, and Z, and see how you can connect to his story. Right. Yep. So with our interviews, it's not even how much sales experience you have. Sales is teachable, but you can't change somebody's character. And I'd say that the most important thing when it comes to branding somebody into your business, whether it's just sales, whether it's marketing, whatever it is, their virtues have to align with you as an individual too, as the CEO of your business.
Yeah, that's 100%. Facts. Recently, and I don't know why it's taken me so long to do this. I think it was just something that I was like, I know it's important, but it's not going to be that important. But it's probably one of the most important things as you start building not just a sales team, but a team in general, is just having your company values written down and aligning with it, and just not taking shit. It's like, we have a strict 3-strike policy at my company. And if you're not aligning with our values, which are pretty in detail, saying like what I would do, because, it's like, life's short, man. Business is short. And it's like, if your team's not going to value what you say as a CEO or do what you say, and like what you said with the values, it's like, it's not going to work out. It's just going to hold everybody else down. I think that's probably one of the most important things, just like having that stuff written down so you can go back to it and acknowledge it and like review it with your team. Cause like, for example, me with like my company values, it's like, we're really big on paid ads, right? And like, paid ads usually fills our calendar, but there's definitely times where there's dips and things are going slow, because again, contrary to what everybody says online, it's not always a straight uphill curve. I would be cool if it was. Everybody would be billionaires online, but that's not how business is. And sometimes sales are slow, right? Like, I'm sure you in sales, you probably experience that too. And like, for me, it's like, if our sales are slow and you don't have room on your calendar and you're just sitting there twiddling your thumbs, not hitting the CRM, get the hell out of here. Like, I want people that are making moves. You know what I'm saying? So like, that's one of our big company values that I think a lot of people can align with, is like, you got to have people that are creating momentum.
The craziest thing is, it's all about who you are as a man. Like, it's literally about who you are as a man and as a business owner. So 2 examples. There's so many guys in the space, and I've worked with some guys. There are guys who get somebody into some sort of program, offer X, Y, and Z, and people have emergencies that come up. And there's the guy that the payment doesn't go through and sends it to collections, or just continues to run the payment, or they have like a terrible customer service system. Like, I've been involved in businesses that I've left personally because people were sending messages about, hey, like, I couldn't pay rent this month, like X, Y, and Z. And then the person just so money hungry, right? And I think it all stems just from like who you are as an individual. Is the purpose more important, or is it just the money? Because you could play the short-term money game and it'll catch up to you quick.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah, I agree 100%, man. I mean, I've had people like that too. They've came through and like, hey man, like, I love everything you're doing, but like, I just got hit with something that like, I have to put my funds towards. Can we figure out something? It's like, yeah, man, because the purpose is bigger. And then they come back and pay the rest of the payment plan in full, because it's like, people appreciate that. And like, I think that's a huge leadership trait that you kind of got to portray to not just yourself, but like your team and your clients too, because like what you follow, what you believe in, and you set that standard for everybody else, it goes a long way.
Yeah. It's because you're freaking forgiving, bro.
Mm.
Like in order to excel in this game, you have to be a forgiving individual. There can't be any resentment whatsoever. Like if you're resentful, it's just going to hold you back. Like literally, if you're
Yeah.
resentful, if the person that can't make the payment, you're already the guy that's sending it to collections and you're not forgiving, like you can kiss this game goodbye.
Yeah.
And you are not going to succeed. And you might succeed short term, but you're going to have a lot of people out there that just are not going to back you up. And it's not even, I shouldn't say it's about the other people, but it's just like virtues, man. It comes down to purpose. And I think that the most successful businesses have a lot of virtue behind them and a lot of purpose. And that's part of the reason why I even wanted to work with you, because I could just tell like on like the way that you've been able to conduct yourself at like business wise and portray yourself. I can definitely tell you're extremely purposeful behind the amount of effort that you put into what you do. It's
Yeah.
effort.
Yeah. I appreciate that. I mean, because dude, at the end of the day, it's like, you could collect all the money in the world and buy all the nicest things in the world, but like the impact you leave on people is what truly matters, right? Like how you're remembered. Because my grandma would always say this growing up. It's like, you can't take money to the grave, right? You
Yeah.
can buy a really fucking nice tombstone, which would be cool,
Yeah.
but you can't take all the money to the grave with you. It's like, now keep that for everyone listening, keep that in context. It doesn't mean go out there and spend every single dollar that you have and blow it, but it's like, you got to change your purpose on like what life really means. And it's like, I even get caught up in it a lot of times, to be honest with you. It's like, I'm always in grind mode. I forget to go out and like sometimes just enjoy myself. Right. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs get like that.
Like the reality of the situation is this, like for guys that are chasing wealth, this is the reality of the situation. It's like, there's a fear in the air about getting into the end of your life. And like, it was all about money. So everything you did was for money, for money, for money, for money. Money governs our society. Like we already know this, like money is why everybody does what they do. The most important thing is being wise enough to know that money isn't everything. So you can enjoy the journey itself. Because if you make it all about money, and I've done this myself as a business owner, if you make it all about money, dude, there are some lonely freaking days. There are days where I remember there was a day where I made the most money. I was able to put $20,000 into like my account in a day, right off the rip, like 20K, like that. And it was such a good day. And I felt like that high of making a lot of money. Like, yo, dude, this is like the most money I've ever made in a day. Like, and then we're consistently doing it. It's like a high day, like profit wise. And then I just remember and like, yo, dude, is this what it's just going to be? Like, am I just going to be chasing money for the rest of my life? Or am I going to have a kid, family? Am I going to be able to pour into other people's lives? Like now, part of the reason why I do what I do with First Class is to teach other people how to make money skill-based.
Yeah.
Right? So it's crazy how all these revelations come up throughout the journey. And act on those revelations. Like I'm pretty sure you have some revelations that come up on your journey. That's probably why you even have AIA rocking,
Yeah. Yeah.
Anytime you hear that voice in your ear, it's important. You got to listen to it. You have to listen to it. You can't ignore it because that's your intuition.
That's I really respect that. And I think that's one of the hardest things as an entrepreneur is like, because we always say, one of the big things we teach in our company is like, don't make decisions based off of emotion, right? Make it off of logic. But there's also that time where, like you said, you got to believe and you got to listen to your gut and your intuition. Like, what is it? And it's hard, man. It's hard to always know like what's the right words coming in, like which route to take. But I think, if you take a step back and look at it, it's like, that's what makes this journey so fun is like, you don't know, but as long as you make enough right decisions along the way, it always works out. Like even when I have my hardest times, I always write down. I'm a big believer in like if things aren't working out well, I need to go back and coach myself. So like I journal every day. Like if stuff's not working out or I'm having issues with something, I'll journal to myself and then write back to myself if I'm like a coaching myself. And one of the things that always comes back is like it always works out. Like all this terrible stuff that's happened in life. Yeah, there's been a lot of bad shit that's happened, but it always works out, man. We're still here.
I mean, I think I love that you brought up the journaling thing. A lot of people think that journaling is just for women, but as a man, you need to write down the shit that is going on in your life and process that information visually.
Yeah.
So perfect example. This morning, I literally made a list on my phone right here of of all the things I'm stressed out about right now. And my responsibility on a daily, and I actually do this on a daily basis. I write out, I have a to-do list and I have a stressed out list. So I have all the things I'm stressed out about and I have a to-do list, and a lot of them are kind of the same. They all like line up together. And what I do is I make sure to get rid of my stresses. Like your stress levels will go up throughout the day. And the more stressed out you are, the less productive I feel like you are sometimes, unless
For
you're
sure.
like wall, like code black stress. But I think, dude, like men need to journal, bro. Like if you're an entrepreneur, you need to journal. You need to write down your thoughts on paper, your stresses, X, Y, and Z. It is so vital.
For
It's
sure.
one of those things for sure.
Dude, our heads are always spinning. Is like that's the one thing I was telling my girlfriend the other day. I'm like, when I'm like in grind mode, which is a lot, I'm like, my mind just never stops. Right. And it's like this is what I use. This little $15-20 note journal off of Amazon. I've got probably like 10 of these. And ever since I've been started an entrepreneur, I've always journaled. Like it helps. Like, you know, you can do it however you want. Some people treat it as a diary, some people treat it as like they talk to their journal. It doesn't matter. And like I think that's a big thing in the world. It's like, oh, you're a guy, like journal, like, yeah, journal because I want to be successful. I want to take back my feedback. I want to learn from it. And like I think that's a really big trait that a lot of people got to adapt is like, you know, you can't keep everything up here, right? Whether you put it on a computer, put it on your phone, you put it on the notes, you got to put that stuff out there somewhere, because a lot of times you have a lot of limiting beliefs that play with your mind and try to tell you the wrong things. But when in reality, when you write it down, you're like, oh, that's not really that bad. I've solved that problem before.
All that shit that's up here, all those thoughts, like there's a lot of positivity, but there's a whole lot of negative. You have two sides of your brain for a reason, right? Everything's like the yin and yang, right? There's dark and light, right? All that negative shit up here is the number one thing that holds people back. And what you need to do is you need to let it out. Sports, working out. I wouldn't recommend drinking or drugs or anything like that, but a lot of we're called as men too, which is kind of crazy, is to hold everything in. Like I was always brought up that, yo, if you get punched in the face, suck it up, get back in the fight. Yo, if something happened, you be quiet. Yo, this and that.
Be a man about it. Be a man about it.
Responsibility. And I'm not saying put this, and what happens unfortunately a lot in relationships is people put their problems on other people, and that's why there's all this other stuff. Like you can't exchange luggage in a freaking relationship. That's not the purpose of a relationship. But you need to let it out. And I think that what's crazy about it too, because I think that there's a lot of entrepreneurs out there. There's a lot of entrepreneurs out there that have like a lot of mental like struggles that we don't talk about. All like our circle and your circle, like you're connected with a different group of guys, Robbie, Jeff, all these guys, right, are like wealthy individuals. Like we're all at this level of entrepreneurship. We're kind of doing pretty well. Like I have a beautiful spot out here in Miami. You just moved from Miami to freaking Tampa. I imagine you're just look at your setup, bro. Like you're doing it, you know.
Thanks,
Mercedes, man. X, Y, and Z. But I know that there's like what's not talked about entrepreneurship a lot is mental health.
And I think that's really good to acknowledge, because I remember watching podcasts from like people like I would always look up to. I still do to this day. And like if anyone's watching this right now, just I'm very happy that you're here. But I also want to say, like, you know, if you're getting these thoughts in your head, like I always remember like when I was on the come up, I was like, dude, like, am I the only person that thinks like this? Like, is there something wrong with me? It's like, if that's you, like watching this video, I promise you, like it's every single person has like the thoughts that you're having of like, if this doesn't work, like what happens? Like that's called being an entrepreneur. And I think when you accept that, because you look on social media, man, it's like everybody's living their best life. Everything's awesome. And it is awesome at the highs, but there's a lot of fucking lows that a lot of people don't talk about. And like, if you're watching this, like, I want you to know, like, it's okay. Like everybody goes through that.
Yeah. All you got to do is believe in yourself. Like anytime I tell myself I can do it, like I got this. So crazy story. I grew up with this girl. She had cancer. Jenna. Crazy story. She came with this thing called God's got this. Right. And God does got this. But I started to incorporate God has it, like the universe, everything like that's going to happen is going to happen. You just got to remain like a good soul, pure soul. But like, I got this. So anytime that I ever had any sort of doubt, which is what comes up on a daily basis in entrepreneurship, it's just, I got this, I got this, I got this, I got this, I got this on a 6 mile run, already past mile 1 and you're like sweating, dude, like your legs are already like cramping and stuff, you know,
got this.
I got this.
I like that.
That's all it is. Anytime anything comes up, in a demo, like, and on a sales call, talking on whoever, I got this. If you can live the I got this life, that's it.
I got this, man. That's the recipe. That's the
Yep.
recipe. We're gonna
I got
slap that into some of our company values now. Is like you gotta have
this.
that got
Got it.
this.
Yo, it's good. Why are we stressing? Yo, I got this.
Yeah.
Like, is life better for you right now than it was 10 years ago?
Yeah.
I would say
Got
for
this.
99% of people that are not either super ill, because sometimes that happens, so health, wealth, relationships, X, Y, and Z. Okay. I would say that a lot of people out there are doing better now than they were 10 years ago. And it might be a small little change, but you're still progressing. And
Mm-hmm.
progression is what we're all,
Well,
working
what's really crazy about that is, I look back at like, let's say 10 years ago, right? And the life that I'm living now is something that I've always like envisioned, right? Like I'm a big believer in, like seeing what you want. It doesn't happen right away, but like for me, dude, like I always thought this was crazy. I remember being in school. I was terrible in school, bro. Terrible. Like I just played sports. I didn't care about like, I didn't care about algebra or history or anything like that, right? I care more now, which is kind of ironic. But, in school I was like, I don't because everyone's like, you got to get a job. I didn't even know anything about entrepreneurship, like, grade school, barely even in high school, to be honest with you. And I always just knew like there was this part of me is like, I can't have a boss. Like, I don't even know how that's going to fathom or like how it's going to work out, but I got to do something for myself. And like, it's just crazy how what you really put into the world, you end up getting in the long run.
Yeah, it's destiny. It's destiny. That's the difference. Is like you're meant to do this. It's not that like, hey, like you envision this and now it's here. Like I hope you're ready for it. Like wake up every day, you're living the life that you always dreamed of. It's gonna have its hardships, but you're here.
Yeah.
And that's what life's all about. I think to end this off, I know that this was kind of short notice. I appreciate you having me on. I want to be able to provide value to people that want to make money, right? And essentially what I wanted to do was kind of give my journey of what it's taken. I got, and Justin didn't mention this, guys. I got 2 Comma Club award with ClickFunnels. Justin's a big time entrepreneur. I'm a big time entrepreneur. I don't try to like always like if you check my Instagram, it doesn't say like, oh, crazy, look at me. I'm more myself on IG, but I'm working with Justin to turn the funnel in because we're about to get this thing rocking.
Hey, team, bro.
But if there's anything that we know how to do, we know how to make money and start businesses. So I would love for you to share kind of like a pathway that you could give somebody watching this meeting. Even you can even make that like the title, like, hey, this is if you want to earn 7 figures in a business. I know that you just came out with a video, the 100K a month, right? Fire. Okay. But like what would be the journey that somebody would follow in order to get to where you're at, would you say?
I think the journey's different for everybody, obviously, but I think the overall steps you need to take are very similar. It's you got to get some sort of skill set that is perceived as valuable in the marketplace because at the end of the day, you get paid on the direct value that you bring to the marketplace. And the better of a skill set you have, the more money you're going to be getting paid. And I think everybody's first got to get that skill set, whether that's learning sales, whether that's learning ads, whether that's learning how to, sell on Amazon, whatever it is, like you got to have some sort of skill set that's different from everybody else. And that's why it's like, if you go to work a 9 to 5, they teach you the skill set that everybody goes through. You got to find something and invest in yourself to get that skill set. And then once you learn that, become a master at it, like just go all in on it. And eventually like your paths are going to open up for you. Right. Like for me, like my paths opened up of going more towards a consultant route, which again, not going to go down that whole road, but that's something that was always in my head is I want to be a consultant. And eventually you start giving out advice and it kind of goes into play. But like, I think the paths are different for everybody, but I think the first step is very similar is you gotta put yourself in a good scenario and you got to learn an important skill set that's going to separate you apart. It doesn't even have to separate you apart. If you think about it, it's like, if you learn sales, a lot of people know sales, but like, that's something where if you get good at it, like you can make an income for the rest of your life on it.
Yeah. I mean, the issue with sales is sales guys learn sales and they think it's just sales, but there's so much more that you have to learn behind sales. But they just try to perfect sales, and nobody will ever perfect sales. Like nobody's ever going to perfect sales. It's always going to be like a learning experience because everybody's different. We're constantly changing as individuals. But what I've figured out is this is kind of like my blueprint recipe. So like, for instance, a lot of the people that I work with right now, I have some businesses I work with, but a lot of people that I work with right now are like a lot of consumer based people. So the very first thing you need to do is you need to change your mind from a consumer to a producer. And then you need to apply that skill set. So the very first thing you need to learn how to do is sales. So you got to learn how to sell, preferably high ticket.
You got to sell yourself on the fact
you got to
too.
sell yourself.
Yeah.
Exactly. You got to sell yourself. And then after that, marketing. So you learn sales, you learn marketing. There's all sorts of marketing. There's organic styles of marketing. Marketing is basically just being able to put yourself in front of your audience. You understand this, right? And then sell. But you have to have sale. I think that sales first, then marketing. You could think different. And then a systems. So now you learn how to delegate tasks and you duplicate those systems. So now you're the person that learned how to sell. Now you could teach the next person. You're the person that learned how to market, so you could teach the next person. And you just start building these systems, right, within business. And one of the best ways to learn marketing is obviously like an agency. Like you did agency consulting. It's like, you know, either working for an agency. That's why I love high ticket sales. And the very first thing that I tell a lot of my guys that I work with is, bro, go close deals for an agency, because you're going to learn about funnels. You're going to learn about landing pages. You're going to learn about ads, because you have to close those deals. Nobody's going to move forward if you're kind of like I don't want to say it, if you're just not knowledgeable on the meeting. So you got to learn those systems. And then eventually that will lead to you like becoming a business owner. And the next step for us is becoming investors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the final, that's where I want to be. And like, just on my end, just grind mode, building up businesses until then. I think like that's where like you can just be smarter with your money and put it in the right places. But I think a lot of that, man, and we'll wrap it up here. But I think that's where a lot of people fall short on the entrepreneurship game is like time. Time is the most valuable equation that we have. And if you're going to try to go and learn it all yourself, you can definitely do that, but it's going to take you a lot of time. And that's why there's mentors. That's why there's programs. It's why, you know, you have people like me and Jay. Like the reason we're here talking about this stuff right now is because we've invested a lot of money to learn this. And like, I think that's a big misconception. A lot of people don't realize is like, you've got to continue to reinvest back into perfecting your skill set.
Absolutely. Imagine coming from doing $1 million in sales in 6 months. So we collected $1 million, got the 2 Comma Club. And now it's like, okay, I'm switching over to consulting. Remember how we're diving into consulting now, like individually me. And now I'm like, I just accomplished something that's pretty big in the entrepreneurship space. And now like I have to be the individual that's, I'm gonna work with Justin, because I don't know it all. And I know I don't know it all. You know what I'm saying? And I think that, yeah, dude, it's freaking crazy, bro.
Just got to put your ego down.
You got to put the ego down.
Ego's the enemy, man. I appreciate you hopping on this call. I mean, I think this is going to be beyond valuable for anyone watching it. And for anyone that is watching this, let us know down in your comments your main takeaways. And Jay, like for everyone else watching this, where's the best place they can find you? On Instagram, JX Austin. And you guys will see some ads pop up too. Like if you're watching this, you'll probably see some ads in some way, shape, or form. But yeah, guys, feel free to reach out. I do really well with sales systems. So the very first sales system that I managed was a team of 22. We went from like $50K a month to $1.2 million a month on a coaching offer with paid traffic, X, Y, and Z. That's what got me to Miami. Like I was making like $30,000-$40,000 a month as a sales director for a 22-person team. And then I was like, dude, I'm cool with sales. I need to learn marketing. So I left that job. I left $30,000 a month to make $4K a month starting off at a marketing agency, like from at the very bottom. So I went from sales director getting paid to bottom of the freaking way down here. $4,000 a month, just moved to Miami. I'm as stressed out as it gets. Scaled that business and started making like 10K a month. And then I started my own agency that did $1 million in 6 months. And now I have a consulting offer that has done 130,000 in the last 2 months organically. So I put the time in, but yeah, so I'm good at sales. So if you guys need, that I just do the sales thing. Like I could build good systems and close and copy and all that stuff. So if you guys want help on sales, go check out Jay. Yeah, hey, bro. Appreciate you hopping on, man. Yeah, I appreciate you, brother. You keep crushing it. And then, yeah, appreciate you guys. If you're watching this, stay blessed. Keep working hard. Work freaking hard. Like, it's not going to be easy. Just work hard. That's all you got to do. Work hard. Work hard, guys. Good. Peace, guys. Peace, guys.